as I just mentioned, we can build all of our CSS rules, all of our style sheets, our groups of CSS rules into a single style sheet rather than having to maintain multiple external style sheets. So we can define different conditions within the same external style sheet rather than having a handful of external style sheets. So this is going to be a lot of fun. This should be interesting and educational. I'm going to get rid of functions.php. I'm going to get rid of HTML header.php. Just for the record, there's no hard linking to any external style sheets or anything like that inside HTML header.php. It's going to be all about style.css. Okay, so make sure you have this guy open. If you need to go and find him, he's inside the Starker's master theme directory underneath the S's, wherever he is in here, styles.css. There he is. I'm completely blind. I'm sure you saw him way before I did. Anyway, make sure you have this guy open, okay? Now, what I want to do here is I want to set things up so that we're taking advantage of media queries. So the idea of groups of CSS rules applying but only under certain conditions, or only if certain conditions are met, I suppose I should say. I also want to take advantage of the cascading effect of CSS, and I also want to build everything, as I say, into a single external style sheet. Okay? So if you scroll down just a little bit here, you'll find I have master, and I have header, and logo, and menu, and all kinds of great stuff. This is all the stuff that we had built in the previous exercise. Okay? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to drop my cursor just above master. Okay? For myself, this is around line 64, if you have line numbers available for you. Okay, and here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to type in a message for myself or perhaps for another developer, which, you know, maybe they're taking over my site for me or something like this. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to type in a CSS comment here, starting with /*, something like this. Okay, once again, let me zoom in here a little bit so you can see what I'm typing in here. /*, and I'm going to type in something like, these rules apply to the high-res display and cascade down to the medium and low-res displays. All right, perfect. And then I'm going to close off my CSS comment by going */, something like this. Okay, great, there we go. So what I'm doing here is I'm setting things up so that the existing list of CSS rules that you and I created in the previous course are going to apply to our high-res displays. Okay? Now, I'm going to scroll down a little bit here. You'll find that there's actually some media queries and some cascading information built into style.css already. You're more than welcome to make use of this if you want. Okay? However, what I'd like to do is I'd like to show you how to build all of this completely from scratch. That's always my approach, right? So what I'm going to do anyway is I'm going to grab this content here and I'm going to delete it. If you want to hang on to it for whatever reason, just drop your cursor above it and hit enter 10,000 times so that you have it kicking around, but it's not going to get in your way. Okay, so I'm just going to do something like this. All right, great. Now, after my footer, after the footer LI and the footer LIA, all that stuff, down underneath there somewhere, what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw in another note, another message for myself or someone else, /*, something like this. And I'm going to type in, these rules apply to the medium resolution display. There we are. And cascade down to the low res. There, something like that. */, just like so. Okay? And then for good measure, I'm going to throw in one more message for myself. As a matter of fact, to speed things up here a little bit, I'm going to grab this previous comment and just paste them here. And I'm just going to adjust this a little bit. I'm going to say these rules apply to the low res display and do not cascade down. Something like that, because there's going to be nothing to cascade down to. Okay. Now, beneath these cryptic messages, hopefully they're not too cryptic, that I've left myself, I'm going to go and throw in my media queries. If you've never hand-coded media queries before, they're a pile of fun and they're super easy to code. Here's what I'm going to do. So this is going to be for the medium resolution media query. I'm going to type in @media, like so. This is very, very similar to what you saw earlier. And then in brackets, I'm going to type in max-width, ;, and then whatever width I want to target here. I'm going to target 768. Do you recall that from earlier on? I'm sure you do. Okay. Following the closing bracket there, I'm going to throw in a pair of what I call squiggly brackets, just like so. Okay. So this is going to be the medium resolution media query. Okay. All right. Beneath that, of course, we have our CSS comment for the low res display. I'm going to go and set up his media query, which is going to look something like this. I'm going to go at media. Okay. And then space, and then a pair of brackets like before. And I'm going to say max-width, : space, and then 320px. Whoops, there we go, something like that. Following that, of course, also with a pair of squiggly brackets. Okay. Now, the big question, where did I get the 320 from? Where did I get the 768 from? I'm sure you'll recall those numbers from our previous exercises when we discussed the resolutions that we want to target. That's where I got them from. Okay. Now, the trick with the media queries, in order to get them to work, is all of the CSS rules that we want to use in the media query have to exist between the media query's pair of squiggly or curly brackets. Okay. So what I'm going to do inside the first pair of squiggly brackets, the medium resolution squiggly brackets, is I'm just going to hit enter a few times, something like this, just to give myself a little bit of room to work there. And I'm going to do the exact same thing for the low resolution media query, something like this. Okay? All right. We are getting there. We are so close to getting started with our responsive layout. There's one more thing that I want to do. I want to throw in some empty structure into our two media queries that we've set up here. And the other thing that I want to do is I want to test them to make sure that they actually work, that they actually function correctly. So what we'll do is I will put the brakes on for the time being. I'll let you catch up to where I am. And then in the next exercise, we'll throw in the structure and then test everything to make sure everything's hunky-dory.